Welcome back, guys, and today is a special episode. Today's focus is all about the underdogs. The Nintendo Switch has quietly become a JRPG powerhouse, but honestly, between the Xenos and the Fire Emblems, there's a whole world of lesser-known titles that slip through the cracks. So if you're looking for something a little bit offbeat, bold experimental, or just something other than usual big-name franchises, these are 5 underrated JRPGs on the Nintendo Switch you should absolutely check out. First up, new to the Switch and still flying under the radar is Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero. It is a tactical JRPG with a soulful story, deep combat, and a whole lot of charm. This isn't just a port, it's a remaster of the PSP classic with updated visuals and a revamped interface that finally does this game justice. You play as Morona, a young girl with the ability to summon phantoms to fight for her by binding them to objects, rocks, trees, treasure chests, you name it. Each phantom only sticks around for a set number of turns, so your strategy has to constantly evolve. Comparable to a Disgaea, but with a more emotional narrative and a gridless battlefield system that's wonderfully chaotic. Why is this underrated to me? It's the art. The art style may scream Saturday morning cartoon, but the themes go surprisingly hard. It's about loneliness, courage, and choosing kindness in a world that treats you like an outcast. And with the Lost Hero Edition smoothing out a lot of the jank from earlier versions, it finally feels like the definitive way to play it.
With Morona herself for show-stopping abilities that can turn the tide of battle. Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero.
Alright, next up, KEMCO RPG Selection Volume 1. Okay, hear me out. KEMCO is like the JRPG equivalent of a vending machine. They just keep spitting out games. Some are rough, but this volume, which includes titles like As Divine Hearts and Revenant Saga, is actually a solid starter pack for any retro-style RPG fans. What you're getting is classic 16-bit vibes with just enough modern quality of life features. Turn-based combat, otherworld maps, gear crafting, and stories about gods, betrayal, and world-ending crystals. You know, standard JRPG fare, but comfy as heck. Easily comparable to early SNES era Final Fantasy or Breath of Fire, but definitely underrated to me. These games totally get dismissed as mobile shovelware, but honestly, they definitely scratch a nostalgic itch, and at a budget price. Sometimes you don't need an epic saga, just a cozy 10-hour grind with a plucky anime knight and his talking cat. The KEMCO RPG Selection Volume 1 includes 4 fantasy adventures. We've got Revenant Saga, Antiquia Lost, Dragon Sinker, and as mentioned earlier, As Divine Hearts. Alright guys, hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive into what I consider underrated JRPGs, definitely consider liking this video and hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my future underrated Nintendo Switch games or underrated games in general. I'm a lover of finding obscure and underrated games to share with you guys. Also follow me on Twitter for, I guess, somewhat of my collection updates or, some of the stuff I have on my shelf. Your boy is also on Instagram for shelf pics, sealed finds, and the occasional cat photo. And last but not least, I am on Twitch too, where I may or may not stream random retro RPGs and sometimes just stare at my backlog in quiet despair.
Whoa, slow down. So many choices.
Okay, moving right along. Next up, we have Monark, the Deluxe Edition. Developed by former Shin Megami Tensei devs, Monark is like Persona's weirder cousin, who dropped out of school but still talks about niche at parties. Set in a twisted high school surrounded by madness-inducing fog, this one's got turn-based strategy mixed with psychological horror. You customize your own ego, summon fiends, and battle using a madness mechanic that can turn you super OP or completely berserk. It's wild, it's moody, and it's definitely not for everyone. Definitely comparable to like a Persona plus Lost Dimension. It's a philosophical total fever dream. And why I find this underrated is it didn't review well at launch, but for players who dig dark themes and strategic battles with consequences, this one hits different. It's ambitious, flawed, and totally fascinating. All right, coming on up, we have Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster. Yes, the remaster happened. No, it did not get the love it deserved. This GameCube duology was always a cult classic royalty, but the Switch version gave it a much needed polish and brought back its truly unique card-based combat system. In both games, you play not as a protagonist, but as a guardian spirit watching over them. That twist alone deserves applause. Then there's the art, the music by Motoi Sakuraba of Tales fame, and a story full of betrayals, gods, and of course, airships. This game, honestly to me, is a blend of Tales of Symphonia and Magic the Gathering. I find these underrated as they were always niche, but now they're niche with low time improvements and a way better frame rate. If you missed them the first time around, this remaster is the redemption arc. Moving on up, one of my personal favorites is Revenant Saga and Revenant Dogma on the Nintendo Switch. So these two games don't just share a theme, they're practically spiritual twins. Revenant Saga has you turning into a demon to save the world, which is definitely classic, while Revenant Dogma goes full steampunk JRPG with a god-tier anime hair. They're both part of KEMCO's stable, but these two in particular rise above thanks to decent pacing, flashy transformations, and unexpectedly philosophical story beats. Definitely comparable to like a PS1 era JRPG like Legend of Dragoon or Shadow Madness, and I find this game, again, underrated. Obviously, for all their jank, they've got heart. If you grew up in the early 2000s renting RPGs from Blockbuster and hoping for the best, this game is that energy. Thanks, guys. And before we wrap up, I have two more shout outs to more mainstream releases that deserve a quick mention. First off is the Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, finally remastered on the Switch. This one is peak 90s anime JRPG vibes. If you've never seen Galleon's villain arc, whew. And second on here, I also wanted to mention as an honorable mention, is the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster. You're talking 108 stars of destiny, now with sharper sprites and less loading. Both of these games have quality of life improvements that are phenomenal. Honestly, completely enough said. Couldn't be more happy with these two games as well. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. If you got a favorite underrated JRPG on the Switch that I didn't cover, definitely drop it in the comments. I will make another video. I love doing these kind of underrated JRPG videos. I'm always hunting for my next forgotten gem. As always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on all the socials for more retro finds, game recommendations, and the occasional game room tour. Till next time, keep your inventory sorted, your saves backed up, and your JRPGs long and grindy. See ya!